Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about X-Men 97. So, this show took people by surprise and by storm. No puns intended for actual storm in the show. But, a lot of people were really scared this show was gonna be a dud because Marvel hasn't really pushed out anything amazing since probably Avengers Endgame. There have been some like kinda hits, like tiny little hits here and there, but nothing so substantial as to being as huge as basically this and everything. Like a lot of their Disney Plus shows haven't really been all that. But yeah, I am very thrilled with this show. It is really good and stuff. It's pretty freaking amazing. Is this show 100% awesome? No. Is this show perfect? No. Is this a 10 out of 10 show? No. But apparently, with the Marvel fan base and with the X-Men 90 series fan base, if you don't say this show is amazing, awesome, 100%, and if you don't say it's like a 10 out of 10, they will attack you on social media. I don't care, because this show ain't perfect. This show has its flaws, and I have an opinion. You got your opinion. Get over yourself and get off that high horse. And so, yeah, people are allowed to have differences of opinions when it comes to like Star Wars, whether it's the new or old, Star Trek, whether it's the new or old. You don't own shit. Plain and simple as that. So stop thinking you own everything. And and stop thinking you own people's opinions, because that's just the most infuriating thing ever, because it's like you're allowed to have an opinion, but nobody else is. And so, yeah, even though this show has flaws and even though it's not 100% perfect, I am having a blast watching this show. I do wish some things were sharper. I do wish, some things would be rearranged, but hey, I'll get into that a little bit later. Now, as of the recording of this video, it is Tuesday, and the last episode has not aired yet. It will not air until 2 in the morning. So after, hopefully I can stay up to that point, because I'm getting old and everything. Once I watch the last episode, I'll chime that in towards the end. So for now, my opinion is only based on the first 9 episodes. And so, yeah, I still can't believe this show even got made. I really can't. Because, X-Men, the original series, it ended back in the 90s and stuff. And that last season was atrocious and everything. I can't tell you how much that last season sucked. So bad and everything. But those first 4 seasons were just pure gold, in my opinion. I love the animation. I love the voice cast. I love the action. I love the storytelling. Some of the animation got a little wonky here and there, but hey, that's all right. Sometimes continuity didn't always make sense, like with Cable. I don't understand. Cause see, I didn't grow up with the X-Men comics. I didn't read them in the 80s. I didn't know of them until they came out on Fox Kids, and it blew my mind and everything. And so when I saw Cable in the present day on Genosha helping out Gambit, I assumed he's just there from the present day. But then once you get into the other season, you're like, oh, you're a time traveler from the future? And you got some kind of weird connection to Jean and Cyclops, but they didn't explain and everything. And all right, fine. And you really hate Apocalypse and your son got erased from the time stream? Okay, fine. But explain yourself from the past. So it was weird things like that where the creators didn't really have a full understanding template. They wanted as many cameos as possible, The people who created this in the 90s were not familiar with the comics, but they made sure they read as much as they could to figure out some stuff. Once they figured that out, the show ran smoother and everything. And you still get little things like that here and there. You still get your weird cameos, either from like Morph, or like the actual person, like what's his name, Vulcan, I think his name is, Cyclops' brother and stuff. And so the creators of this show, they are true fans of like the original and the comics and stuff like that, which is something Marvel doesn't always like. The X-Men movies, some were hits, some were misses, but they did a lot of damage to the X-Men, especially people who were not familiar with them. So because I was familiar with the cartoon series, when I saw the movie series, I'm all like, don't you know these two supposed to be related, and these two are not related, and this person's power is supposed to look like this, and this person's supposed to be short, and that person's supposed to be tall, and blah 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 blah. And so I was just kind of like, I'm kind of getting irritated a little bit watching these movies. And so things that happen in the movies trickled over into the comics, into the newer animations and stuff like X-Men Evolution, and Wolverine and the X-Men and stuff. And now some of the stuff in the movies is trickling over into this series, I've noticed. Like when it comes to Rogue and she absorbs people powers, there are two different special effects for that. It's still the special effect of the 90s, those little circle glowing lights that come from the person into her hands. They still got that, but then if you look very closely, you will see veins coming from the person's skin she is absorbing and everything. That is from the movies. And then they also did that in Wolverine and the X-Men and stuff. So, little things like here and there are doing that. Also, Magneto tattoo of his identification number and everything from the Holocaust. That is from the movies, and it trickled over into this show. Also, this whole thing of, oh, Charles, you can't affect my brain if I'm wearing a helmet. That is from the movies. I am tired of people thinking this is canon with the comics and canon to the original series. It is not. So I do appreciate these people know exactly what they're talking about when it comes to X-Men and stuff. I just wish this could have been its own series. I really wish they didn't piggyback off of the 90s series just to get some clout and just to get a good IP and everything. And because, but I understand why they did. Marvel needed a win. And Kevin Feige is a huge X-Men fan and a huge fan of, he stamped his seal of approval here and there when it came to those movies, because he used to work on those movies in the early beginning before he became the Feige, or better yet, should I say, Kevin, give me your money, Feige, and everything. And so I just really wish this cartoon series could have been its own thing. New costumes, different storylines, different voice casts, stuff like that. Because as a diehard fan of the 90s series, when certain things don't line up to my headcanon and everything, it gets me a little confused and it gets me a little irritated and stuff. Because there are some continuity issues and everything. Like, one, being this whole Jean Grey and Storm best friends thing, when the heck did that ever happen? I don't remember that happening in the original series and stuff. Because those two barely interacted with each other. They rarely had scenes together unless they was fighting on a team, and whenever they was kind of separated from each other. If anything, I would say Rogue would probably be Storm's best friend, because in the original series, those two did a lot together. They were together at the mall when Jubilee got attacked by the Sentinels. They were together when Mejinari needed help with the Shadow King, and they went to Africa together. When Rogue tried to absorb the Juggernaut powers, she got a big blast of his memories and went crazy in the sky, and it was Storm who had to help her. So those two always had many scenes together, along with Storm and Gambit and Storm and Wolverine. So this whole best friend thing with Jean Grey, I don't know why it's there. I guess it's because since this show focuses a lot on Jean Grey and everything, And the whole Madeline Pryor, like I guess they wanted Storm to do something because they knew they was gonna snowball Storm. And once again, she has been like nerfed. I swear to God, there must be something about Storm that creators just don't like. Because in the original X-Men, the first movie, she was really dull, really plain because Bryan Singer did not want no comics on set and everything. And she wasn't the Storm everybody know and love. She started to become that in the second movie. And she started becoming that a little bit more in the third, but it was still all about Wolverine and crap like that. But she still had more stuff to say and do and everything. It's just she didn't feel like the leader in the third movie. She's the leader, Cyclops is dead, but yet Wolverine's leading the charge. That don't make no sense. So she was nerfed in the movies and stuff. Then comes X-Men Evolution, where she was an adult and a teacher, and the rest of the X-Men were like teenagers and kids. And because of that, they really didn't focus on the teachers all that much. And once again, she got nerfed. The only time she ever got any good screen time was with Mystique, and she barely had any with Evan, and that was her nephew and everything. So then comes Wolverine X-Men, and she was beyond nerfed in that. She had one solo episode, one half solo episode where they put her in a love romance with Angel, and then other than that, she completely disappeared from the show. And not only did she completely disappear from the show, she barely said anything. She barely did anything, and she's second in command, but yet Professor put Wolverine in charge and everything when Cyclops was acting like an idiot. So they have done Storm really dirty. Even in the original cartoon series, she barely ever had anything to do. Whenever they made her leader of the Morlocks and everything, it's like, she never really did that and stuff, and they even called her out on that. And so they've always screwed Storm up in adaptations, and they did it once again here. Like, they could have got so much meat and potatoes out of her storyline of her losing her powers. She lost her powers just like in the comics. And then all this talk of, oh, you're my best friend, it's not, and all this other crap, and she's just like, all right, I'm out of here, bye. They didn't even try to help her get her powers back. They didn't try to counsel her. Jean, you're a psychic. Why didn't you counsel her and everything? And, it's just kind of like they just wanted to write Storm off the freaking show and everything. And so she disappeared, and then she came back. And every time she would come back for a solo episode, she had to share it with somebody else. There was that really lame Jubilee episode with the arcade stuff. And then there was that lame Professor episode where he's teaching a bunch of aliens like they're his students and everything. And I'm just kind of like, dude, give Storm her due. Those two split storylines could have been combined into one episode. And I wouldn't be complaining right now, but I'll still be kind of complaining because she's kind of nerfed a little bit anyway. And, I will say those split storylines were really nice. Like I said before in the first episode, I am shocked and surprised. It's the quieter episodes I'm enjoying a whole lot more than the action-packed ones and everything. Maybe because I'm older now, maybe because of Young Justice, maybe because television has changed, or maybe because the action sequences kind of fly by so quickly. I don't know what the heck is going on and stuff, and I have to rewatch it and stuff. But anyway, when she was with Forge and everything, that was some nice stuff, but it was still rushed. Like, those two were like in love with each other. I'm just kind of like, when was he ever in love with her? The dude barely knows her. He's met her only just a few minutes ago, and already he's in love. I assume it was like a fake, like a hallucination, but no, it's really him. And then all of a sudden, she's like, well, I love you too and everything. I'm just like, when? Y'all have barely known each other. And then she gets her powers back in the weirdest way. His machine kind of worked and kind of didn't, but it was more of an internal emotional thing. That's why her powers got completely shut off and couldn't turn back on. And then so the adversary, I assumed he was like the main villain, but wasn't. And so it was just like a solo episode, which I do appreciate because, that's something that happened in the original, a lot of solo episodes. But it was just kind of like when she got her powers back, when she fought adversary, it just all happened way too quickly. And then the thing that don't make no kind of sense is her transformation. She basically had like a magic girl transformation. where she had her mohawk, she was wearing regular clothes, and all of a sudden she transforms and now she's in her 80s costume all of a sudden, and her hair went from a mohawk to long and flowing. And I'm just kind of like, how the heck to getting your powers back, grow your hair back, and for you to transform in a costume? Now, there is some context to that to the original. In the first episode, when Storm saw that Sentinel, she transformed into her white outfit. I assume she had her white outfit underneath her regular clothes, and when she made lightning go over her body, I assume it singed off her clothes, and that's how she did that, because they never really did that ever again except for one more episode. And I don't even remember what happened in the episode, what she was wearing. And so now I'm just kind of like, how the heck did your hair grow and all this other crap? And I know the creator, Bo DeMayo, says, you know, they're trying to do some weird stuff that happened in like the 90s cartoons, and then they bring it over here. But this is when you're supposed to improve on things and not make it weird like the old 90s cartoon. Because in the old 90s cartoon, they didn't know much about the X-Men, but they learned very quickly and stuff. And so, like, then all of a sudden, when she comes back, everybody's like, oh my God, Storm, you got your powers back. No, they didn't do that. I'm like, dude, y'all don't care about her. The writers don't care about her. And, and it shows and everything. Another thing on the topic of those old costumes, where the heck did they come from? Like, Jean's costume and Cyclops makes sense because we've seen them before in the original. And Jean said this was the original costume, Scott, you saw me in. And then we saw a flashback where Scott was in another uniform. I don't know if it was that one exactly. It might have been yellow and blue or yellow and black. But anyway, Jean's makes completely sense. Everybody else's does not. Also, Rogue's makes sense too, because that's how Charles first found her in that green outfit. But everybody else's costume doesn't make a lick of sense. Wolverine 80s costume is amazing. I just love that yellow and brown. Storm costume is amazing. Everybody else just looks too 80s, and all the comic book nerds, when Jizzy pop all over those 80 costumes, they're like, oh my God, yes, and everything. First Superman in the red trunks, and now this. I'm like, no, this is old fashioned. I don't want to see Cyclops looking like that. I don't want to see Jean looking like that. But back to it not making no sense, it's like, okay, Rogue makes sense because we saw her in that one. Jean makes sense because we saw her in that one. Cyclops, maybe, just maybe. But Wolverine doesn't make no continuity sense. Because when we saw Wolverine in his origin, the very first costume he put on was the yellow and blue costume when he worked for Alpha Flight. Now all of a sudden they're trying to say Wolverine has that costume. Since when? Now Wolverine does have an alternative black costume that they did for that Magneto episode, and Rogue has an alternative green outfit that she wore in that Magneto episode in the original, but those have not made no appearance here. And Morph, we don't know how he dressed in back in the day, and apparently he has shoulder pads on his outfit. And where did Roberto get his uniform from? Like, this dude is still brand new to the X-Men, and he hasn't even had a uniform yet, but he has his 80s outfit. So I don't get it. Like, where did those costumes come from? And don't say it's continuity, because it is not. Now, it's nice to see Jubilee finally get some new clothes. Because they're taking not only from the 90s and the 80s comics, but they're taking from like the 2000s and other eras too. And I do like that, because I just don't want to see stories from like the 90s, But like, her outfit could use something on her. She needs like a belt or like an X symbol or something, because it's just an all black cat suit and her yellow jacket like in the comics. And it needs something because it's just black on yellow. I wish they would have gave her red outfit. I really wanted to see that red and white outfit. Also, I am so happy what they're doing with Jubilee. Jubilee was so annoying in like the 90s series. I always felt bad because they wouldn't let her go on missions because she was so young. And then when she finally went on one, she was annoying as could be. But here, she is a delight. And one of the things that making her a delight is that they're not making her a bratty teenager. Second, The whole Roberto thing is a delight with him and her. And, so they really fixed her. And I'm so glad they fixed her. And as in the whole Roberto thing, he is surprisingly pleasant as well. Like, I've always wondered what he would be like, because he was in X-Men Evolution, but he was part of the New Mutants, and so he was just there just to be there. And we never knew nothing about him. He sounded more I think, what is he? Is he Colombian, I think? I know he's Afro something. Afro-Cuban or something like that. He sounded more Hispanic in like X-Men Evolution than he does here. But like, I do like the stuff they're having with him. He's basically taking over Jubilee's role of being the new outsider to the group and trying to get like, situated with the group and everything, and not going on missions and then going on missions. We never get to see him train, even though he says he has. And we finally now get to see his full potential in his powers and stuff. And then the whole romance between those two is really nice, especially when, like, they're kissing or dancing and using their powers. That's like really cool. And it's nice to see, the whole thing with his mother, where she accepts who he is, but she's just embarrassed because she don't want nobody to know, because it cost them their money. And it was even better to see her completely reject him when, like, those Sentinel Prime people came and attacked and everything, and she just kind of slammed the door in his face. And that, that's great when it comes to X-Men stuff, because you need to see that rejection, because not everybody accepts mutants. So I'm glad they kept that in there. Him turning on the group and working for Magneto just came completely out of nowhere. See, it's like they're rushing these storylines to fit everything in 10 episodes as opposed to 20 or however many was in. Oh, it was 13 in the original. They did a lot in 13 episodes. But anyway. But here in 10, they're trying to like a rush and combine as much stuff as they're trying to. And something just kind of feel odd. Like, why did he join Magneto and everything? And, so I do like when Jubilee got pissed and blasted the crap out of him and stuff like that. That was nice to see. Now, one of the things that's really irritating me is not everybody gets their time to shine in this series. I get it. People are tired of Wolverine. I'm kind of tired of him too, even though he is my favorite. But when they kept like, overusing him, I kind of switched on over to Nightcrawler and stuff. Not Gambit, because in the cartoons, he's always a villain now. But anyway, I don't like how some of these X-Men are here in this show and they have absolutely nothing to contribute or have no solo storylines. Beast is still, in my opinion, just like in the 90s and just like Evolution and Wolverine, the X-Men, is one of the most boring X-Men ever. His power set is boring. I like how he's smart. I like the way he looks. But the man, it's hard for him to like hold up in the fight unless he's fighting a bunch of goons and everything. He's not that strong and his powers aren't that strong either. But even though his powers aren't that strong, we still, well, after the first season, and by the second season, even in the first, he contributed to being arrested and stuff, but more so in the second and the third and fourth and all the other seasons, he still had crap to do and stuff to say. And he wasn't just saying one-liner from like the third X-Men movie, which he said twice now. Like, we get it. You watched the freaking movie. He's not really spouting all that like philosophy stuff that much like he used to. It's just more like one-liners and stuff. They did show how powerful he was in the 9th episode by having his claws cut straight through like a sentinel arm and everything, which his claws should not be able to do that, but it was still nice to see. They have changed the color of his claws, I noticed. They used to be white in the original series, but coming into Wolverine X-Men and like X-Men Evolution, now they make them blue, and they made them blue for this series. I suspect that he's going to have a second mutation in this show, because he was the only person who didn't get a new uniform, him and Charles. So I'm suspecting that something's going to happen with his cat-like mutation and everything. That would be a nice touch, because I've only seen that once in that X-Men anime. Now, Wolverine. Why? I want to see more of him. I want him to have at least one solo episode. I want him to do more stuff than just hang out with Gene and everything and saying something funny and popping his claws out. Like, part of the dialogue that getting on my nerves with him is that, sometimes he would just say some of the most random one-liners in like the original series, which was great. Like, here's Wovey and everything. Like when he was to the Hellfire Club or in a circle, whichever one you want to call it. Here, there's a really weird scene when Cable was here in like the 8th episode, and he was talking to Scott, and he could see Scott, like he's looking directly at Scott, and he's talking to Scott, and he said something smart mouth to Scott, and Scott said something smart mouth to him involving Cable, and then Wolverine's all like, "Daddy's home," and I'm just like, what do you mean daddy's home? Like, you've been looking at this dude the whole time and you know he's related to him and you've been talking to him. So why would you say something so weird like that? And of course, because something like that will probably happen in the original, so they're trickling over to this show. I'm like, don't do that. That's weird. But I wanted this dude to do more than just get his claws lit up in the first episode and basically do nothing for the entire series, then only slash a bunch of Sentinel people up. And then I do like the part where he stabbed Magneto, because I was happy. I'm like, finally, this dude is dead. But then Magneto went all comic book on his behind and ripped his adamantium out. So, since the 10th episode hasn't happened yet, I don't know what they're going to do with him. Are they going to kill him? Or are they going to do what they did in the comics? Only time will tell in a couple more hours. But as for people like Bishop, what was the point even putting him in this series? They gave him a new hairstyle. He's back in the past. Like, when did he come back into the past? Because wasn't he supposed to be in the future? He has done absolutely nothing of significance in this series other than take Nathaniel or Nathan into the future, and he lost him. So what was the point? Why make him part of the toy line? Why put him in the promotional stuff? Why have him on the team? Because he apparently wasn't going to leave until now. They gave him an excuse. Oh, we need you to take this baby into the future and everything. All right, bye, y'all. And like, oopsie daisy, I lost the baby. And not only that, but like, this would don't make no sense. Once again, it should have been its own thing. Cable and Bishop had no idea who each other were in the original series. Especially Cable, like they didn't know who they were and they fought each other just like in the comics. Now all of a sudden Cable knows exactly who he is, and it's like, how? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and this is why it should have been his own thing. Gambit. Whew. Now this hurts right here. He's one of my favorites as well. Before that dude died, they pissed all over that man. Oh, I just think I'm some Cajun. Oh, I think I'm some kind of like, what was something rat? What does Rogue call him? Swamp rat. Oh, he's all like, I pretended to be the swamp rat, for you, Rogue, and blah, 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 blah. I never felt like I was good enough, and I always felt like I was a thief, and I was hiding from my past, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Really? So not only are you having other people dump on him, but he's dumping on himself? He had so much more confidence in the original series, and he was cool. He was slick. That's why everybody liked him and everything. He was a ladies' man who could never get the lady, but we didn't care that he was still cool. He parked the car, Rogue. I mean, come on. That was a cool line. Like, I parked the car and everything. Like, come on. Like, he's like the Johnny Bravo of the show from the 90s. He would hit on somebody, get rejected, and it was just cool and everything. But the man always had some swagger to him and everything. And now it's just like he has self-pity about himself. And then there's the whole Rogue and Magneto disgusting storyline that really pissed in Gambit's face. So much that he had a hallucination they're naked and their bodies is melting in each other. I mean, like, come on, man. The only good episode he was in this season, other than lighting up Wolverine's claws, was fighting that huge Sentinel thing. Like, that was just cool. Him on that motorcycle reminded me of something like Akira or something like that. And him like getting stabbed, and it's all like saying his cool one-liner and blowing that thing up. Like that's the only good cool thing he did in the entire series, and then they killed his behind. And we don't know if he's dead. They say time travel is not going to bring everybody back, so I don't know what they're going to do. Some people are suspecting he will turn into Death, but Apocalypse so far is not in this series, so I don't know. Oh, by the way, I'm cool with them changing Cable's technovirus thing to Sinister from Apocalypse. Apocalypse got defeated in the 4th season, so I'm okay with that. I mean, I wish they would have kept to canon of the comics, but hey, whatever. They didn't always keep the canon in the show, so whatever. Sabretooth hasn't been here. I would like to see Sabretooth and Wolverine just go at it one more time, Who else? Oh, Morph. Now, I've said this before. I've never liked Morph in the original series. I didn't like the way he looked. I didn't like his stupid little laugh. He was barely in the series because he died in the first episode. And then he was gone for the entirety of the first season and came back in the second. Now, when he came back in the second, he was interesting because he was evil and trying to take out the X-Men. And that was some really cool episodes, and Wolverine tried to track him down. Then he fought Sinister off and redeemed himself, only to disappear again to have PTSD, and then to disappear again, and then came back in the 5th season all of a sudden, like, dude, where you been? Like, why are you here now? And so I will say this time, I like his look now. That white face looks cool from the comics. I hate they gave him shoulder pads now. I wish he would have kept his classic uniform. He's basically just a comic relief in this series, and he has some really cool mutant cameos who he's turning himself into. Now, there was some huge fuss from that anti-woke mob about him being non-binary. They're ruining our X-Men and everything, and making him non-binary. They're gonna groom our kids. They're gonna blah 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 blah. And oh, I bet you Wolverine's gonna be his gay lover. And then they started making Wolverine wear like a rainbow suit, and I hate these people so much. You people are disgusting. I don't even think your own family loves you and everything. Like, they try to ruin everything that people want to enjoy only because they want to grift and get that YouTube money and have people click on their videos and make them money. And they do this hate rage stuff because, just like I said before, they know there is a sucker born every day. And then when people click on their videos and watch their videos and pay their Patreon and crap like that, they rope themselves in a sucker. And so stop being a sucker. Stop watching their videos. Half of them don't even know what they're talking about. Half of them have never even watched what they're complaining about. And the others are just complaining because they want money. Stop being a sucker. Anyway, with Morph this season, he's just okay. Like, I'm still not like a fan. It is creepy how, like, he watched Wolverine shower. That's creepy. You're not supposed to do that. I don't care what your sexuality is. You ain't supposed to do that. And yeah, that's really creepy. I would never recommend this show to kids. The original I would, but there's some adult themes in this show. And so, watching another person shower is not something you're supposed to do, because your subconscious will latch on to that. And some people who don't know better will think that's okay because they saw their comic book like character do that and everything. And other people who know it's wrong, they will be like, oh, no, that's wrong. But then other people will be kind of like, well, if he did it and it's okay, then why can't I do it? And then you're like, ooh, I just got me too. And everything, So that was really creepy. And you can tell he has a crush on Wolverine and everything. I mean, he flirts a lot with Wolverine when he changed himself into people and stuff. So, the writers are trying to hint that, Morph is probably like, coming out of like the closet. He has a crush on Wolverine. But, they've never even mentioned his sexuality because he's never even mentioned he's non-binary. Now, I believe the creator, like Bo DeMayo, he's openly gay and stuff. He said it wouldn't make no sense to to discuss this stuff, because back then people weren't doing the whole non-binary thing and stuff, which I've said that before. Like, I swear to God, this stuff feels like it came out of like 10 years ago and stuff, because I've never heard of it before. I've never heard of non-binary, the whole damn day stuff. Like, I never heard of none of that stuff until probably like 10 years ago and everything. And so, let's see who else I talk about on this show. Ooh, I'll get to Rogue last, because, oh my God, dude. It's a professor. So he's alive, and he's been on an alien planet. And the professor is just weird. They wrote him so weird. They, like, when he was with those aliens, he's all like, "This is how I teach my students. I put them in the classroom." Blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, why are they writing him so lame? Why are they writing him so corny? Why are they writing it, like, him this way, to where even I will make fun of him? And I don't go around making fun of like random people like that. But it's just so corny the way they're doing it. But a lot of people are pissed because they're all like, "Oh, you blamed a human for like his death, and he's alive and everything." Which I don't know why they blamed a human, like the Gyric dude, for his death to begin with. Now, of course, this show plays politics. The original played politics. The comics play politics. Those anti-woke mob people don't want you to know that. But even Stan Lee himself has said, you know, politics and Malcolm X and like Martin Luther King is a big contribute to like the X-Men and everything. There's audio of Stan Lee saying that on YouTube and all kind of like, you know, videos and stuff like that. So do not believe those anti-woke mob. They just want your money because they want to make you into a sucker. Anyway, so basically, there's lots of politics that play when you have like, you know, the Friends of Humanity hating on mutants and everything. That whole attack on Genosha was similar to like that people get randomly shot in like an open place, especially that nightclub, that gay nightclub and everything, because those bigots and everything. And now you have the humans pissed like, "Yo man, you just blamed us and everything and we didn't do anything." And this is kind of similar to how you want to look at it with race. You can have it to where a black person say, "Look man, I didn't do nothing. I never like, you know, I wasn't there. I didn't like do what y'all said I did, but y'all blaming me and arresting me." That can be one way, or you can look at it the other way. You can be all like, "Oh, like just because I'm white, you thought like, you know, I was hating on this person's race and acting a fool, but no, you see this person agitated me first." Like that one them boys and that one indigenous dude. Like, you know, it looked like it was the white dudes messing with him, but it was actuality. He went and messed with them first, and then they stood their ground and messed with him back, and that's what got recorded. And, you know, all that could have ended if, you know, they just went their separate ways and stuff, but it didn't. And so they're pissed about that. But then now the X-Men are pissed at Professor. They're all like, "Look, man, you was dying, you got healed, and you never came back to us. And not only that, you gave Magneto to school. Like, what the heck were you thinking?" So I understand why Cyclops and stuff is mad. Rogue don't make no freaking sense at all in this series. And I will get to her last. It's nice to see Cyclops be Cyclops again. Those X-Men movies ruined that man's reputation, to where even in the animated series that follow, ruined his reputation and stuff. The X-Men anime, there's two different ones. I'm talking about the one with the uncanny X-Men, or no, astonishing X-Men uniforms and everything. Those did him justice, but a lot of people ain't never seen that. And it's hard to find online now, but anyway, they're finally giving that dude his due. And they're finally making him cool, and they're bringing some of his shadiness from the, like, you know, the comics. And so the whole him, Jean, and Madeline Pryor thing, that's really good drama. I wish the whole Madeline Pryor thing wasn't as rushed as it was. I wanted to see more of her. I wanted to see more of her evil other than just one episode and stuff. This could have really played out very well. Even though it's supposed to be Emma and, like, you know, Jean and Cyclops. But they kind of already did that in Wolverine and X-Men a little, just a little. But this whole Madeline Pryor, Jean, and Cyclops thing, I wish it could have been a whole lot bigger, a whole lot longer, and we could have really got some gumption out of that if she just would have stayed evil and then stayed around alive and Because it's kind of like, oh, here she is, and oh, wait, you're a clone, and oh, wait, now I'm evil, and oh, wait, I left, but oh, wait, I'm on Genosha, and oh, wait, now I died, and oh, wait, my son just came from the future. And so it's just kind of like all that stuff is just going by too quickly and everything. But from what we getting, it is nice, and it's interesting to see some of the X-Men turning against humanity. They finally had enough, but there are some that still want to go with the Professor. As for Magneto in this, look, we all knew the dude was going to turn evil. The dude ain't going to stay nice forever. It was nice for him to attempt. But Magneto in this is weird. Magneto is literally, I don't even know if you can call him a groomer. I don't know how old Rogue was when he met her. Was she a teenager, or was she an adult teenager? An adult teenager is okay because 18, 19 is adult age. But if she was a teenager, that was gross. This whole, I've said this before, this whole Rogue Magneto thing, it is from the comics, it's done differently, and don't give us this excuse of, oh, they pretended like, well, you know, this affair happened, but we're just gonna pretend like it ain't never happened. So you ain't never seen any original series. Nah, man, don't play us for a fool, because we ain't no fool, you know what I'm saying? This is a stupid storyline. Like this whole Rogue liking Magneto only because he's the only one who can touch her. Look, put a mutant collar on your behind and, like, you know, touch somebody. That's all she has to do. And speaking of behind, I can't believe people went so crazy over her butt. Y'all are some of the biggest snowflakes I've ever seen, and it's pretty apparent when you say you're married, you're really probably not, or y'all probably sleep in separate beds. Because for you to complain about a cartoon character's butt size, that's pathetic, even for y'all. But anyway. And so, like, this whole storyline between Rogue and Magneto is just disgusting, and it's stupid, and it is pointless. And nobody's gonna believe that this happened, and then they're just gonna forget about it, you know what I'm saying? And as for Rogue herself, she was such a cool character in the original series. How in the world did y'all do this to her? She was even a little okay in the movies. She wasn't written perfectly, but she's a whole lot better than what she is here. Who is this Rogue character? I don't recognize her at all from the original series. She's not headstrong. She is temperamental only when somebody she supposedly like dies and everything. But like, all of her coolness, all of her headstrongness, all of her convictions have been completely wiped away. One of the best storylines she had in the original series was if she was going to take the cure. This woman has so much emotional detachment to her powers. Like, she just wants them gone, and she just wants to touch people. But when the opportunity came for her to get rid of her powers, she did not, and that took a lot for her to do, and it made her a stronger character. And she never really liked Gambit all that much, but she likes the idea he flirts with her and stuff. But she really don't like him in the original series. But then, you know, she did reveal that she does have feelings for him when he was on Asteroid M and everything. And that one dude was going to kill him and everything. And, you know, it revealed, like, in the third season, she really does like him. She likes him, but she just can't have him. And now they ruined the Gambit's character and Rogue character by having this whole love triangle thing, the whole Magneto thing. And all this season, she acted like she didn't want not Rembrandt. I'm thinking of Sliders, but she didn't want Gambit. And then all of a sudden, she's all like, "Oh, I'm done with you, Magneto," and blah 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 blah. I don't want you. Until she thought he died, and then all of a sudden, she got pissed and wanted Magneto back. And then when Gambit died, she went nuclear and everything. All of a sudden, she's in love with Gambit, and she's willing to beat up any, like, military person, even Captain America if she needs to, just to find the people who's responsible for those Sentinels and everything, and straight up kill Trask and everything, which all of the X-Men could have stopped her. They saw what she was doing. Cyclops could have blasted her. Jean could have mind blasted her. Nightcrawler could have teleported. You know, like somebody could have done something. Or they could have flew down and got his behind. But no, they just let her murder him. And then it turned out he's a Sentinel. And then all of a sudden, she just disappears for the next episode because she's put in a coma for some reason. Because I guess that Sentinel dude was too much for her. And it's just like when they're not using her, they're just betraying the character that people know and love. And then all of a sudden, she gets pissed at Storm. Oh, you wasn't here, sugar. You left us and everything. And then all of a sudden, she's pissed at the professor and everything. And then she joins Magneto. And I'm just like, who the heck is this character? Either one of the writers don't like her, or they just don't know what to do with her and stuff. Or they're just building this up for drama and character development, but it's character regression, and they're dismantling a cool character and stuff. And Nightcrawler is basically Nightcrawler. He's kind of the same way he was in the original. He's not quoting too much like Bible verses and stuff, and now he fights with swords all of a sudden and slashing people and dicing people up, and like, you know, because they were sitting on human people, but they can be saved, but he's still killing people. It's not a very religious thing to do, but he's basically the same. And so, like, when it comes to action, when you are able to see the action, it is really great and it's really spectacular to see. I just wish they would stop speeding it up. Like, it goes by so fast, and not only does it go by so fast within time, they speed the animation up the way it goes even faster. And it's a little jarring because I want to take it in and I really want to see it. Now, when you look at this series, it does look like it's based on like anime animation and stuff. You know, like that scene where Rogue was flying in the air, did that flip and extended her foot out, her foot out for like a kick. She had a very anime face on her and a very anime looking leg and foot. And I've seen like some other stuff here and there, like the whole Genosha thing. That looked very anime. That looks so much like Akira. I think that's what they call it, Akira, I think. I forget what that's called, but it's this old anime. So it looked a little bit like that. And so the animation is great. I do prefer the older one just because I do love that texture of the older one. But this one is a nice hybrid of like, you know, anime season 5, the X-Men anime and stuff like that. Character designs, face-wise, body-wise, are still pretty much point on from the original, just slightly tweaked here and there for a smoother look and everything, so that's kind of nice and everything. As we all know, some of the voice cast has come back. They had to re-audition again because their voices have gotten older. The guy who plays Cable is the original Gambit voice actor. He can't play Gambit no more. His voice sounds too gravelly and everything. The actress who plays Rogue sounds younger than what she did before. Beast and Wolverine, they're pretty much still the same. It just sometimes their voices sound slightly different and everything. But it's a new voice cast and some people are like spot on, except for the Mojo person. That person did not sound like Mojo. And even though Cable does sound different, I do like the new voice that they gave him and stuff. Some people sound so spot on from the original, you think they came back from the grave because those people have died, you know what I'm saying? And so voice-wise, you know, it's hit or miss. As for the villains, you know, the original series, it was random episodes, but an overarching story arc. So I like when they do things like that. And they're doing it here again. And so I just wish some of these villains could last a little bit longer. Like that one friend of humanity who came out with the blaster that's similar to the mutant callers. See, this is why I wish this show was slow its roll down, because I would have preferred an entire season with the Friends of Humanity and this new blaster they got, and they could have done like something like The Purge or something like that, where they're trying to purge all like forcefully, like, you know, what's that stuff called where they're trying to make people who are gay straight for religion, conversion therapy. I wish they would have done something like that for like the first season with the Friends of Humanity when it came to mutants. Forcibly take people's powers away, causing mutants to now want to attack humans and give them a reason to restart the Sentinel Project, and that could have been in season 2. And so then we could have got like, so I wish they would have had like the Friends of Humanity and that one dude a lot longer and stuff instead of just one episode, because that was like really like wow, you know what I'm saying? And then second season they could have went to this whole Sentinel thing. But they didn't do that. The adversary, I think, was just a pointless villain. I don't know why they brought him in. That Mojo episode was stupid, and I don't know why they brought him back and everything. And now I see why they split those episodes up, because the villains were just kind of lame. You know what I'm saying? As for the stuff going on with the Shi'ar Empire, I don't care about them. Unless there's going to be something Dark Phoenix related and they're like, oh, we got to stop them. Or they try to invade Earth. I don't give a rat's behind about them. And everything. I wish Sinister would have been the main villain because I wanted to see more of him. I don't like what they did to his voice, but I wanted to see more of him as like a villain, but he's just a pawn and like, you know, Bastion's scheme and everything. And as for Bastion himself, thank you for giving a pretty interesting villain. He's really cool. I like his backstory. I like his minions, that he turns people into sentinels. That is really great and different because we didn't see stuff like that in the 90s, you know? We saw a little bit of that in Wolverine, the X-Men, with that one guy with the claws on his face. He was a human sentinel and everything. But at least they gave us a really interesting villain. I just wish he was more interesting. They don't explain how he saved Magneto from dying from that sentinel. Like, they really didn't. And it's weird how he ties Magneto up and shaves him and basically grooms him. Like, he's basically just like physically grooming that man. He shaves him. You know he has to give him a sponge bath. You know that man has a nose, so he smells, and he don't want Magneto to smell. He changes his clothes, he feeds him, and I don't get that point. And so, like, you know, so I wish, you know, we would get more, like, I wish he could have been the main villain all along from the start, so we could get more backstory, more things with his mom, you know, how Charles thought, like, he was a mutant at first, you know, stuff like that. Now, as for the showrunner who got fired, I've said this before. I am wondering now if it was a publicity stunt to fire him 2 weeks before all this happened, because he was promoting the show, he was posting pictures, then all of a sudden 2 weeks before it aired, boom, he's gone off social media and he got fired. And people speculated and speculated and speculated. Then halfway through the show, here he's back on social media. He's posting pictures. People are reposting what he's doing. And it's kind of like, well, why did he get fired? Rumor has it that he has an OnlyFans page, but his stuff is pretty innocent. Basically, what he does is a bunch of shirtless pictures of him working out. Nothing scandalous, let's put it like that. And Disney knew about this when they hired him, and they didn't have a problem with that. But supposedly, they say he has an attitude problem, and he is a nightmare to work with. And they said there are some things he does that creeps them out. What exactly do they mean by that? I do not know, and they really need to explain themselves, but they won't because everybody's under contract, even him, even though he no longer works there. And we know and it's like, what is the creepy about him, I wonder? Like, what was it? Now, there's some things in this show, like I said, is not suitable for kids. Like Gambit's hallucination of a naked Rogue and Magneto kissing and melting into each other, that's weird. Morph watching Wolverine shower, that is creepy. Then there's the whole Magneto in his underwear thing and him strapped to a wall in a giant X symbol. Magneto's a old man, but he's extremely buff, and they made sure they drew some bulge on that dude. And there he is in his skimpies and everything. It's kind of weird, especially how this is supposed to be like a kid's cartoon. Then when he's free, he's flying in the air in underwear and everything. And I'm just kind of like, why? Why do I have to see that? Now, to be fair, Wolverine was in his underwear in the original series and also in the intro, in every intro there is. So basically he's naked with underwear on. He pops his claws out and all of a sudden his suit morphs on him. That's in every intro. And I don't understand why that's there, but it happens so fast you barely can see it, right? Like you can barely see him in his underwear because it's mostly just him in his uniform after that. But there's another scene when his flashback when he was in the Weapon X program and he's in his underwear and he has that helmet on and he's in the water, but they don't focus on him in his underwear for only like a split second. And then he runs out and he's in his underwear. I wish they never did that. I wish they would have put shorts on him. But he wasn't so muscular, huge, and strapped to the wall in that X type symbol and you know what, BSM type thing. I don't get that. Maybe that's what they mean. I don't know. As for him being a nightmare to work with, once again, we don't know. But I've said this before. The best showrunners are the ones with attitude and a kookiness to them. And like in The Walking Dead in the first couple of seasons, that dude had an attitude. They fired him and then they hired somebody newer who was nicer and the show started to suck. But it is kind of weird how people are just like, well, we don't care what he did. He's great for this show. And like, you know, we want him to write the X-Men movie and direct that and blah, blah, blah. So people are dismissing there could be more to this man than meets the eye that might not be good. People do this crap all the time. James Gunn, those ped jokes are disgusting. And there were more than just him tweeting it. I heard one in real time on a video. And there's also those weird parties. There's a picture of him and his wife and some other people. And he attends parties, adult themed baby parties and stuff where grown people dress like kids and babies. Yes, those pictures are online. Yes, I don't understand. Yes, it is weird. And yes, people are still a fan of his. So then you have to ask the question, well, if he could get rehired by Marvel and hired by DC, why are they shunning Bo DeMayo and everything? So now this is going to open up a can of worms and everything. And it's funny how so many people, especially those anti-woke mob people, have been pretty silent now. Because they're all like, you know, they thought this show was going to be terrible, but now they're liking this show, and even some are apologizing online. See, this is what happens when you want to be a shillelagh and you want to ruin a show for people just because you want to grift and get some money. And if you don't know what a shillelagh is, when I use that as an innuendo, it is an Irish fighting tool, an old-fashioned one. But it looks weird. It doesn't look like a fighting tool. It looks like a man's lower anatomy. And stuff. But that is what you are, and that's how you acted and everything. And it's funny because I saw some people bashing Bo DeMayo because he is openly gay. They're all like, woke Disney fired their woke like X-Men creator. Now these people are either silent or they're saying this show is great or they're apologizing now. These people are fake. So the next part of my video is going to be the 10th episode and whatever happens with that. So, okay, so I just saw episode 10. Man, I was exhausted that night. Like, I was trying my best to stay up. I almost fell asleep and everything watching some movie called the Second Strangers movie and stuff. And so like, yeah, episode 10 was just like insane and everything. It was extremely good. However, it was also extremely confusing. It's almost like some of the events in episode 9 just didn't seem to matter in episode 10. It's almost like they didn't exist and everything. And I'm just kind of like, I had to rewatch episode 10 twice just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Because I was left so confused and everything. I'm all like, wait, so when did he get free and when did they turn good? And when, like, it's almost like, I don't know, man. It's weird. It's just kind of like, there is just some things in this show that don't flow and everything, and it just leaves you confused and stuff. Also, that blonde lady who was working with the X-Men in the earlier episodes in the season, I thought for sure she was gonna be revealed as Mystique, but it hasn't done that, or hasn't done it yet. So I'm all like, I guess she is human and everything, but it doesn't make no sense because there was such a misdirect. She kept asking about Rogue. She kept appearing in places that was kind of like, okay, why are you here and stuff? And then it's like, you know, when she freed Magneto, why did she free Magneto and stuff? There are other mutants who can control metal and everything. But it's like when she freed him, it's almost like she knew him on a real personal level. And then not only that, but like when Bastion had the mutant collar in his hand, talking to her, all pissed off, walking to her slow, right before she gave that long monologue speech, it's like, I assumed he was going to put it around her neck. That's the way it was making it look out to be. But I guess she's human and stuff. And so in episode 9, of course, there was that climactic battle against Bastion and his Prime Sentinels and stuff. And, you know, that was pretty good. But the mutants they put up against the Prime Sentinels and Bastion, it's just kind of like, what did you really expect? Like, did you really... I know Storm probably would have been able to, like, you know, put up a good battle. But see, this is the problem with Storm. They have nerfed her so much. We have seen her gone against Sentinels before and blast the crap out of them. Now, it's just like she's getting, like, her butt blasted and stuff. And, you know... More, they really expect him to go up against Sentinels for a long period in time. And so, like, of course, you know, you had Sinister and Cable and Jean and that huge thing, because nobody was really expecting Cable to be brainwashed, but he is. So, you know, she had to go up against both of them, and she held her own pretty good until, you know, we assume Cable killed her behind, you know. Then, of course, you had the stuff going on with Magneto and the X-Men. Some of the X-Men joined him and stuff, which is still bizarre and everything. And then Charles, you know, he's all like, you know, I got no choice. I gotta, like, brain blast this dude. And Cyclops is like, but you do that, the Sentinel Prime's gonna reactivate again because, you know, Magneto put up an EMP. And it just knocked out everything. So Charles wanted it back on because, you know, the humans are dying a slow death, and so are the mutants. And if Magneto professes to want to save mutants, why is he slowly killing them all? Just because he wants revenge. And so Charles just went boom on his mind and everything. And Cyclops betrayed the professor by blasting him, talking about, no, we need to give Jean more time and everything. And it's just kind of like, okay, we see where this is going, Scott. You're turning allegiance and everything. And then, of course, you know, Wolverine had to come in and, like, stab his behind. I'm all like, why is he stabbing him through the side? Stab that dude through the chest or through the head. Like, did nobody learn anything from Avengers Infinity War? But then this is the part that really bugs me. When they did the whole movie continuity, putting Magneto's helmet on Charles and all like, hi, now you can't use your power against me and everything. And so we see then, of course, Magneto ripped the adamantium from, like, Logan's body, right? Which was a cool nod to the comics. But then you get to episode 10. So you assume, okay, what the heck is going to happen now? Like, you know, and because of what happened in the last episode. Well, apparently a lot of stuff happened off screen. When the episode starts, we see Magneto and Charles when they first met each other back in the day in, like, their 20s or 30s. And I'm all like, oh, okay, this is a nice little thing to show, you know, how they met. Because Charles explained them, we saw a flashback, and he mentioned they both revealed their powers to each other when they fought off some villagers and everything. And so, like, but then in this, like, flashback thing, we see they revealed their powers to each other at, like, a bar. And I'm all like, no, that don't make sense from the original, like, series and stuff. Sorry about that. There was some man in my front and all of my backyard looking for his stinking dog. And it's like, people really need to stop their dogs from getting loose. Like, seriously, they really do. And where was I? So, anyway, they revealed themselves at the bar. And I'm all like, that doesn't make sense from the original series. But then we see it's not necessarily a flashback, it's the professor inside Magneto's mind and everything. I'm all like, and he's using his power on him, and he's all like, and he really blasted the crap out of Magneto to where Magneto didn't remember who he was and all this other stuff, and he's trying to talk him down. And I'm just like, hold up, now y'all just said that stupid helmet is supposed to prevent him from using his power, so how the heck did he get inside his mind? Now we know in the original series the helmet don't mean nothing, but we assume they retconned it because Magneto literally said it. And then not only that, but like, then this is where things get even weirder. Now, the X-Men who turned on Charles and everything, now they're acting friendly and everything. And I'm all like, shouldn't Rogue be pissed and trying to beat everybody up because Magneto is comatose right now? And like, aren't you supposed to be for your old man and everything? And Roberto, isn't he supposed to be on the side of Magneto? And Cyclops is now acting nice, even though Cyclops blasted the crap out of the professor. And so, like, he has no idea if Jean's alive or dead because he thinks she's dead and everything. And so it's just kind of like, when the heck did all this happen? You like have her helping Wolverine and everything and getting him on, like, the Blackbird, and I'm just kind of like, dude, you was fighting him just in the last episode and your old man is taken out. Shouldn't you be trying to avenge him and stuff? And so, like, then you have Cyclops talking about don't leave her. I'm all like, hold up. Jean has never liked Logan in the original series. Every time Logan will try to like get with her, be like, I need you too and everything, she was like, oh, I need to find Scott. And she would like run off and everything, So it was never her ever liking him. But now in this show, they keep making it to where Jean actually liked Logan back because this is what happened, of course, in the movies and the other cartoon series and crap like that. And I'm just kind of like, this is why I want this show to be its own thing, because this never happened in the past. And now it makes Jean just looks like a bad person trying to want to secretly be with another man and everything. So it's like she is a hypocrite when it comes to the whole Madeline Pryor thing. And, and then this, so like, while Charles is inside Magneto's brain, he's all like, look, man, if I do this, both our minds could be trapped and, we could be in comas and blah, 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 but he has to try and, do what he has to do and everything. And so all this is going on. I'm just kind of like, oh, wait, the power's back on and everything because Magneto is taken out. So, of course, the Magneto protocols are coming up. And so the government is trying to blast Asteroid M. And so, like, we get so many cameos out the wazoo, man. First we had Spider-Man from the actual Spider-Man anime series a couple of episodes ago, right? Now we get Mary Jane Watson, Peter Parker, and Flash Thompson all in the same cameo. And they wearing their clothes from the old show. And it was so good to see them in this newer animation. They look identical to what they were before. And so now we know for a fact Mary Jane Watson has been found and and living back with Peter and everything. Then, of course, we get like Black Panther. And okay, here's the thing about the Black Panther in the old series. Now, Spider-Man tied the X-Men, Iron Man, and possibly the Fantastic Four series all together. Even though the Fantastic Four series had different voice actors than the one that was on Spider-Man. So we can probably say it might not really be them. Now, the Fantastic Four did not show up, but Morph cameoed into like Mr. Fantastic. But they had a Black Panther in the Fantastic Four. And it was supposed to be T'Challa, the one everybody knows as Black Panther. But when he revealed himself to like the president, it is T'Chaka, the father and everything with gray hair. And so I'm all like, okay, T'Challa hasn't taken up the mantle yet. And so this can't be the one from the Fantastic Four series. But we get Daredevil from Spider-Man, the animated series. Remember, there was two Daredevils, one in Fantastic Four, one in Spider-Man, and the one from Fantastic Four was more silly and everything. But we get the cooler one from the Spider-Man show. And it was cool to see him. Like, why can't they give Daredevil his own animated series? I've been wanting that ever since the 90s, man. We got Doctor Strange up in here. Remember, he was from the Spider-Man animated series, but they changed the way his power looks to look more like the MCU. Then we get Iron Man from the Iron Man Season 1 animated series with that really bulky, sharp-looking armor he had. Now, Season 1 really did suck, but Season 2 was great. I wish they would have put him in that one, but anyway. And so, like, we get Cap again, and I'm surprised Cap is in the present because wasn't he supposed to be, like, missing or dead or frozen or something from that flashback of Season 5? Now, if you remember, the Iron Man show also crossed over with the Hulk television show back in the day. But that Hulk has not appeared in this series yet. So these are like some really cool cameos. We got like Omega Red, Silver Samurai, and stuff like that. So like we see that, you know, Bastion and everything. You know, the thing about Bastion I always liked is kind of like he's the one who's pulling all the strings all along. Teaming with Mr. Sinister and tricking Magneto into going like berserk and causing the humans to like, you know, attack. And, you know, he blackmailed the humans with the whole Sentinel thing to cause the X-Men to go after them and, you know, put all this stuff in motion. And so he is a really good villain. It's just sometimes when he talks, he just sounds like an ordinary, blasé kind of person. And he doesn't sound all that villainous and stuff. But he hates humans because of how his mom raised him, which of course is how young people become racist and stuff. And also he has part of like, you know, what's his face in him? Nimrod, which by the way, if he's part Nimrod, why hasn't Storm just frozen this dude yet? I mean, that's one way of defeating him, freezing him, and then blasting him and stuff. But all they had to do was really freeze him and keep him on ice. So it's just kind of like either they forgot that from the original one or they just don't care. But this dude is super powerful and he's combining with other parts of metal and becoming more cybernetic as we constantly see him. And then he takes Cable's arm and puts it on like, you know, and uses it to transform. Now this silvery winged like version of him I found that online, so that does exist from like the comics and everything. But here's the problem I'm having with this huge fight thing that's going on. Cable was brainwashed in the 9th episode. Now we see him docile and acting normal with the red like gem on his forehead and Sinister talking his sinister crap. And Jean appears as Phoenix. Now, we all knew Jean was going to appear as Phoenix because they keep teasing it in the intro. One thing they tease in the intro is Emma Frost slamming the door on Charles's face and everything. So we'll probably expect to see her next season, probably. Now, here's the thing with so I like, how did she get the Phoenix Force and why is it blue and why is she looking like fire and everything? And it's because there's still a teeny tiny part in her. This is known as the White Phoenix Force and stuff. So it makes a cameo in this show and she uses it to take out Sinister. But here's the thing. Why is Cable acting docile and normal? Why isn't he still brainwashed? Why isn't he still trying to kill her? So it's almost like the events of episode 9 didn't necessarily happen the way we think they did. And so, like, she just uses her power to rip all the DNA out of Sinister, the mutant DNA he's put in himself. And he's left as like this old, shriveled up looking ugly man. And he tells Morph, let me see how I look. Let me see how I look. And Morph shows him, and he's like, I'm ugly! And then he just runs off. I'm like, that's how you defeat this man? He sees his ugly face and runs off? I mean, this is kind of bad, because Sinister was a cool villain from the X-Men cartoon from back in the day. And this is how you punk this man out. I'm ugly! But then again, Morph could have just morphed into anybody and made him think that. And also, why would he trust Morph? I don't get that. You know what I'm saying? If I was Morph, I would play with him, be all like, yo, man, you look worse than what you actually do, and I'm going to fake my face and stuff like that, you know? But now they had to hurry and get rid of the White Phoenix Force because, you know, of course, what happened at the end. And so I'm like, that was cool to see, but it's kind of like, was it really all that necessary? You could have, like, you know, had her defeat him another way or whatever. If you was only going to have it in there for that tiny little moment and stuff. But it was still nice to see. And so, of course, you know, Cable's now normal, and him and Gino are like, this is my son, and he's smiling. I'm like, dude, you don't like her. And now all of a sudden, you like her now? And I'm just kind of like, you know, whatever. So anyway, they hop on over to Asteroid M, and so they try to help, you know, the X-Men, who are all now getting along. Even Roberto and Jubilee are getting along again. I'm all like, dude, I liked it when Jubilee was pissed at him. The dude betrayed her and everything, fought her and everything. When did all this crap happen off screen? And so in a way, Bastion comes in all like silvery, and it's a huge battle. And I mean, it's a huge battle where some of them are separated from each other. And the thing I don't understand is like, how are the X-Men able to breathe in outer space? Because there are so many scenes where they're in outer space and they're able to breathe. And I'm just kind of like, oh wait, there was that one Phoenix episode where they fought on the moon and they was able to breathe. So I guess that makes sense. And I don't remember how they was able to breathe. I don't know if it was alien technology just floating around in the sky, putting oxygen in there, or maybe it would just like happen. So yeah, I guess they can breathe in outer space. But then if that's so, why did they wear the spacesuits to go into outer space to begin with? You know, I don't know. So it's a huge climactic battle and some really good action. But of course, it's X-Men 97 and it's sped up like really fast. And so they're trying to defeat Bastion, and they have no idea because this dude is literally too powerful, and his hatred of them is only, you know, causing him to constantly fight them even more because they're mutants and stuff. So the humans are trying to blast Asteroid M, but it has no effect. And I'm all like, have you never heard of a nuke? And not only that, but if Captain America and Iron Man works for the government, why haven't we seen more heroes like the Avengers and other heroes that are not Avengers take on the Prime Sentinels? It's like, okay, we have these cameos, but they're not actually doing nothing, you know? And so then all of a sudden, Cyclops realizes, you know, maybe I should just give this dude a pep talk. I'm like, no, don't do that. Like, no, keep blasting him, man. I don't want you to save the day by giving him a inspirational speech and trying to appeal to his humanity and everything, which he literally says that this is what you're trying to do. But it don't work because he don't care. He hates mutants and stuff. And so he gets destroyed and stuff like that. But then Asteroid M is crashing down on the planet. And so this is when Charles, you know, wakes up Magneto, and Magneto is now gonna save the world. Now, here's my problem with this. One, when he was inside his mind, he's all like, I can't remember what my parents look like. And Charles is all like, well, that's because you was a kid and you forgot. I'm like, nah, man, what you should have said is that you pissed me off and I erased your parents from your mind. That's what I would have done. But then now, here's the thing. Magneto saved the entire Earth from being destroyed, and asteroid M is imploding on itself and stuff. And here's the thing. Why now all of a sudden is Magneto wanting to help the humans? Why all of a sudden is Roberto and Rogue all of a sudden wanting to help the humans when they tried to go against humanity in the 9th episode? So it's like, oh man, like what changed all that? You know what I'm saying? Like literally, what changed all that and everything? Because they still hate the humans. Because humans still hate them and everything. Not only that, but what about Beast and Cyclops? They were starting to turn themselves a couple of episodes prior, and they started to hate humans and everything. So why all of a sudden are they having this shift? And then of course the whole thing explodes, and we don't know what happened and stuff. And then so we get towards the end, and I couldn't believe what happened. And honestly, I kind of don't want to see this stuff in season 2. Now, before what I get to at the end, first, you know, like I said before, I would have paced some things out. I would have the humans hate on the mutants from all first season with the Friends of Humanity taking out mutant powers and stuff. Then with this whole Bastion thing, I would have had that been an entire season where they constantly fight him, losing and everything. And these Prime Sentinels are getting too much to where it makes the humans be all like, yo, we really screwed up. Like, we should never created these Sentinels. We should never started hating on mutants. And maybe they was right and everything, you know? Then I would have had the whole split the X-Men up and have them fight against each other, like in a Civil War kind of thing, where Magneto leads one group and Charles leads the other. That would have been really great to see, instead of cramming it all in like one episode. Oh, by the way, I do love how they finally mentioned Blue and Gold Team, something from the comics. Now, as for the ending, now a few of the X-Men were on the planet and everything, while the other ones were still on asteroid M. And so we see Forge and everything. He's in his little workshop, and it's the nice display of Days of Future Past when a lot of the X-Men, the mutants' pictures are on the wall. And, you know, some say they're like missing and like, you know, this and that, and, you know, stuff like that. Just like in the comic. But then all of a sudden, here comes Bishop out of freaking nowhere. And it's like, dude, where have you been? Because I get it. The events of, you know, his future change, and maybe it took him a long time to time travel or something like that. But yeah, he's back all of a sudden. And, you know, Ford doesn't know who he is in the present day, which makes sense. But I'm all like, dude, where have you been? It's just like he's like they brought him in just to use him as a time crutch and everything, which yeah made sense for like. See, that's the thing about the original. He was never there as like a support system. He was never there as a crutch. Like they only brought him in to do time travel type episodes. But the problem with this series is that they made us believe he was part of the main team and everything. He was in the promotions. He was in the first episode. He was in the toy merch and stuff. And it's like, why was he in the present and everything? And so it made you think he was part of the team, but he really is just there to do time travel-y type stuff, like in the first season of like the original series and stuff. And so when he started talking about it's not where they are, it's when, I'm like, oh, okay, something happened and caused time travel. And then we see, like, you know, some of the X-Men have been transported back to Egypt back in the day when Apocalypse was in Samba Banul. And so, like, they save him. And Rogue's there. And Rogue is just beating up on Egyptian people. Pissed off again. I'm all like, why is she pissed? Nobody attacked her. She saw this person getting attacked, so she just assumed, all right, let me go attack them. Then they realize who he is and stuff. Which, shouldn't they know what his face looked like? Like after season 4, and then you think they might have went into the history books and saw what this dude looked like. I guess not. And then we see Jean and Cyclops got transported into the future, where Cable is a little boy and everything. Then we get Apocalypse in the present day, and he goes to like somewhere, and he picks up a playing card, which is Gambit's playing card, which now like fans have speculated Gambit is gonna come back alive as one of the four horsemen as Death, just like in the comics. So, this is a extremely good cartoon series. It's better than what Marvel has been pushing out lately. Like, take What If. I don't watch What If. I can't stand What If. I can't even get past one episode of What If. And I've tried so hard to watch What If. And Spider-Man freshman year thing, the animation looks stupid. And so I just don't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, the thing is like, while this series is very good, there are just some things that are still up in the air. And I'm not even just talking about Bo DeMayo being fired and stuff. I'm all like, how did certain events happen? Like, they don't want to go and explain, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to know why, like, the transition from episode 9 to 10, when did all that happen off screen and everything? And just other little small details that, like, just don't make any kind of sense. And I really want them to explain. Like, I want to know how Magneto survived that, like, you know, being destroyed when the other mutants did not. Yes, we know Bastion came in and saved him, but how? And how was he not affected by the Sentinel blast and everything? Is it because he's part Sentinel? Well, they can still blow each other up and everything. And, like, if he's gonna keep Magneto captive, why did he strip him down for? See, Magneto reverted back to his original suit, the one that's made out of metal and stuff. But here's the thing, his new suit they gave him for this series had no metal in it. So why did he strip him down? Why did he shave his beard and all this other stuff and make him all presentable and all this other mess? Like, I don't get that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's an oddball of a villain and stuff. And, you know, there are just some things that just haven't been explained that I really wish would be explained. And, you know, and you see what Bo DeMayo did. Like, it's so funny because, like, you know, he's a gay man. So, of course, he's going to incorporate LGBT type things in, like, his show. And so there's some characters, like, you know, Morph, you know, like when Logan called out Jean's name, dying on the bed, Morph's all like, she's not here to say it, so I'll help you out. So he turns into Jean and be like, I love you, Logan. And that, of course, is a nod because they've been hinting that Morph has a crush on, like, you know, Wolverine and everything. I'm assuming they're giving Morph the role of Iceman from the comics. Because Iceman was straight for many decades, and then they retconned it and said that he was secretly gay and just been pretending to be straight when he confessed to Jean and everything. So I'm assuming they're giving him that role since Iceman is now part of the X-Men team in this show. Also, when Charles and Magneto were talking, you could tell they were getting really close into each other's face. I'm all like, is Charles about to go like Dumbledore and everything and start confessing his love for him? Because that's the way it kind of seemed and everything. And then, you know, you have Storm and Jean. They're always in each other's face when they're talking and lovey-dovey. And I'm all like, and everything, you know. So you get the innuendos and everything here and there, but it's never been truly confirmed. But, you know, you can confirm the whole Morph thing with him being non-binary, and now they're making him like gay and stuff. So of course those like anti-woke mob people are gonna go crazy on the internet about that, but who cares about them? So while this show is not perfect and it has flaws, it is still amazing and everything. Now, I heard season 2 is actually supposed to come out this fall, which would be great. I just hope it happens before too late on, because after a while I'm getting rid of my Disney Plus and Hulu thing, and I don't plan on renewing it till like probably till like November. So I hope it comes out a whole lot sooner than later. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.